Hi everybody, Keith. I'm a wine geek, and today I want to talk about a couple questions that I get both at the shop and at Invino. People ask me, Keith, do I need to decant a wine at all, ever? And which wines do I need to decant? And then I also get the question, if I don't drink a bottle of wine fully, how can I preserve the wine? What we're talking about here is two opposite ends of one spectrum. The spectrum being the aeration of wine. When wine is exposed to oxygen, oxygen will dissolve into the wine, start to convert the wine and break the wine down. While that wine is being broken down, we're enjoying this evolution. That's why we get all these different flavors and aromas throughout the evolution of a bottle. Like, okay, now I'm getting chocolate. Oh man, I wasn't getting chocolate before. So that's what's happening. As far as preserving wine is concerned, what we're trying to do is when you buy a bottle of wine and you finish half of it and you don't want to drink the rest of it, you want to save it for the next day, but you're afraid that if you do, the wine will go bad. Different wines have different thresholds when it comes to being broken down. It ranges from blend to blend and wine to wine, with whether it's 100% varietal or not. Generally, I feel the best way to preserve a wine is the cheapest way to preserve a wine. You can buy gadgets and you can buy pumps and stuff like that, but if you don't want to buy anything and you just want to preserve the wine, here's a great way to do it. You go to your local wine shop, you come to Alphabet City Wine Company, and you buy a half bottle of wine. You go home, you drink it, you cook with it, and then all of a sudden it's done. It's not a lot of wine. And you save this. You take the empty half bottle, you put it on your counter. Next day, you go and you buy a bottle of nice wine that you want to have with dinner. And you sit down with your wife or your husband or your friends and you drink a bottle of wine with dinner. And let's say there's about half of the bottle left and nobody wants to drink anymore and you want to save it for the next day. What you should do is you have this empty half bottle of wine. Pour the rest of the bottle that you don't want to drink into the half bottle. Then take the cork and put it into this little bottle and make sure that the wine is up to about this point so that there's not a lot of oxygen involved. And you take the bottle and you put it in the fridge and it'll be good for another day or so, depending on the wine. But generally, that will preserve the wine. All we're doing here is we're trying to reduce the amount of oxygen being exposed to the wine. The more our wine is exposed to oxygen, the quicker the wine breaks down. If you have it in a half bottle, it's all the way to the top, and you put a cork in it, there's only a little bit of oxygen there, and you put it in the refrigerator kind of puts the wine to sleep, and you have a couple days, if not one day left. The next idea is decanting. I get this question a lot. Should I decant this wine? Any wine can be decanted. Again, what we're talking about here is encouraging oxygen to dissolve into the wine to allow the wine to evolve. And when we decant a wine, we want it to change. We're going to finish it. When you cut an apple in half and you let it just sit in the air, it quickly turns brown. What's happening is the oxygen is dissolving into the apple and browning the apple. Same thing happens with wine. When a wine is exposed to oxygen, it starts to break down as well. So what we want to do is we want to encourage that browning effect in a wine, because as that happens to a wine, it starts to blossom. The thing about decanting is back in the day when clarification was not a science as much as it is today. Clarifying a wine is using different methods to allow the wine to adhere itself to its weighty phenols or compounds to drop to the bottom of the wine, maturing the wine in the bottle and allowing the wine to refine itself. This is why we age wine. Back in the day when we wanted to pour a bottle of wine, we wanted to drink a bottle of wine, there was a lot of sediment at the bottom of wines because of this lack of clarification methods. So what we would do is we would take the decanter and we would pour the wine into the decanter with a candle behind it and a white piece of paper, looking at the bottle of wine until we see the sediment catch in the bottom of this part of the bottle, and then we would take it and we put it down, and the rest of the wine that would be in the decanter would be wine without any sediment, and the wine would continue to evolve and we could enjoy it. These days we have a lot of ways of fining the wine, clarifying the wine, making wine smooth, and there are not a lot of wines out there that have a lot of sediment, especially young wines. They don't. If you want to decant a wine for a dinner party to have a nice decanter on the table, my suggestion is decant the wine right before you sit down to eat, because that way you're going to be able to enjoy the entire evolution of the wine from the minute it goes into the decanter to the minute it's done. And through that evolution, you're going to be tasting the food, and you're going to see different aspects of the food, and you're going to enjoy it throughout its evolution. Also, be very careful when you pour it out, because sometimes decanters will kind of have a nice stream coming out here, and it can get a little crazy. I may actually mess this up. Okay, no, I didn't. Oh, it's nice. We just decanted it. It's going to go into something.